in the middle of doing a text blast, what's the parameters, the filters? What are you looking for today?
So little trick that I picked up with the lease options that kind of help is if you take, I did some research through List Source and I saw what was the median price that a house was going for in the counties out here. And
Yeah.
then I did a scrape, a Zillow scrape for those two counties out here with that median price point. And so now I got a couple hits actually close to where I live and in the surrounding counties by me.
Boom. There you go. It's a
Some of them have been on the market for over 100 days.
wow, wow. So possibly some motivation
Hope so.
cooking here.
Yeah.
What's your plan on finding the motivation points?
Well, it's one of especially for the ones that have been listed for a while. I want to really, my plan is be like to ask them, well, did you ever think about listing with a realtor at any point? And of course, I know the answer because I could see it through PropStream. And
Yeah.
then when they say, oh, well, okay, so that didn't work. So what's your next plan from here if this doesn't work out?
Right.
And then let them talk from there.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a good plan. Good plan.
Thank you.
Let them tell you, right? Uh, you know, what's your plan? Let them tell you. So, in some cases, they don't have a very good plan.
Yeah.
They're running out of options, ideas, or maybe they're just getting fed up with it, right?
Especially now in the summer months where everybody's looking to buy a home and move in. This is like when everybody's looking to buy
Yeah.
houses.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's excellent. And also a cool way to pick up a couple leads pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much do you think it costs to run your scrape today to get a couple?
Um, be honest with you, the two counties, maybe it cost me like less than $10. So I make one
Yeah.
deal. That's a great return on investment.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. That's why I tell people to do it, man, because it's so cheap to get started. You know,
Yeah.
when you're going to get started, you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on something you're not sure may or may not work, right? Because you've never done it personally. So it's a cool way to pick up a few leads. I love it. Love it. I've been using the Texter for, well, since it came out in 2018, but before that, I was on some other another text machine with another coach,
Mhm.
and everybody knows who I'm talking about, right? Joe Crump.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Joe Crump, man, he's been around for a long time. He's a legend, and he has an auto marketer. I think's what he calls it. Scrape Zillow. I think he scrapes Zillow now and Craigslist. But it was like 197 a month,
Wow.
and then you have to pay to play too, right? So I mean, definitely worth it. But at the same time, when automated REI came out and it was no subscription sign up costs, I was like, no brainer for me.
You know what? It was something actually you said to Rocky said the other day where he was doing large amounts of scrapes and was kind of hitting or missing. So I kind of took a look at what he said and what you told him, and I went back and I looked. I said, well, what's the median price for the county that I'm interested in? And then I looked to see if there were any homes somewhere below that. So those are great targets. Some were a little bit higher, but of course, with hopefully appreciation, if I get them into a lease option for 2 or 3 years, it would at around like 3 to 4% appreciation, being conservative, they'll hit their number what they want.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's cool how creative you can get on a deal. Like
Yeah.
you can, it's like I find that new real estate wholesalers want to find deals, but deals aren't found really. That's my that's my experience. Deals aren't found really. Motivation is found. A seller's desire to sell is found, but the deal itself often is quite ugly or doesn't quite look right. Doesn't quite fit. It's like a round peg you're trying to fit into a square hole, you
Yeah.
know? And you're like, how do I make this work? I'm not, so that's where the creative part of the real estate comes in. So, figuring out a solution, an end game that makes it monetized for you and also is a solution for the homeowner, it it takes some skill, man. And some creativity. Kudos to you, man, for
Thank you.
thinking through the
Came from
right.
you. It came from you and Rocky talking, just listening to what you and Rocky were saying.
Well, yeah, Rocky is he's not here with us today. I don't know where he's at, but well, he's really, really hitting it hard. I'm proud of him. Proud of you too, man. Both you
Thank you.
guys. And you're in the major metropolitan. You're in Metropolis, right?
Yeah.
So um, if folks are out there thinking, well, this doesn't work in Atlanta, this doesn't work in okay, well, I'm sure I'm sure it does. It's just you got to get familiar with your market and
Just gotta tweak it.
yeah, you got to tweak it a little bit and play with it and do some marketing and pull some leads and make some good phone calls, and it's the same game everywhere, really. I like going out in the country. That's me though, but I've done it in the city for a long time too, and it's the same. It's the same game both places. Just in the city, it's a little more competitive, sure.
Mhm.
And you got a lot more realtors here. I'm amazed that here in Kansas City, 2.25 million population, and there's like 4,500 realtors on the books. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. There's like a realtor for each of us. Okay. uh, um, and all of them, guess what? They all have to eat, right? So, um, but many of them are not very good at what they do too. Just like any industry, and some are very very good. So in the city here, I do have competition quite a bit, and so I do like to go out. I mix it where I live here in the urban with where I don't live out in the rural,
Mhm.
and I'll do a little bit of deals both places.
How successful are you with realtors accepting the lease option?
Well, not not very not very much unless they are holding a listing that is pretty old.
Okay.
Okay, if it's 5 months old, I even ran across it where it's 5 months old and this is the second go round.
Mhm.
Eh, That realtor has a heart. Most of them are human like you and me. They have fleshy hearts. They have feelings. Um, they're looking at their client going, "Hey, I wish I had a buyer. I'm sorry. I feel bad. I maybe even look bad. This is the second go round, or it's been 5 months and you've had two people look and nobody made an offer. I don't know what to tell you, but I've been giving you the rah for 5 months now, and now it's like it doesn't even sell very good. You call that realtor and say, "Hey, I'm a real estate investor, and honestly, I'm looking to pick up my next property deal pretty quickly. I saw this one on the internet,
Mhm.
and I wanted to call and ask a few questions about it. Let you ask me a few questions and see if it's a good fit. If it's not, it's okay. You could tell me no. Is that cool?" The realtor will say, "Oh, yes. What can I tell you, sweetie?"
Mhm.
Because you remember the realtor's just as motivated now as the homeowner, probably. And so the realtor will say, "Yeah, what can I tell you?" And you'll say, "Hey, I'm curious. Ask any question you want about the house, but then say, hey, is your client in a position where they would consider a lease for blank months and then selling at their asking price or at the full market value?
Mhm.
Is that or maybe you've even like because where you're at, David, maybe you even bump it up a little past fair market value, right? Like you were kind of talking about earlier, being creative And they will either say, the realtor will either say, yes, they would consider this because I've had this listing for a while and I know they need to sell. I've heard it many times come right out of the realtor's mouth. And we've already talked about something like this. That I've had them say that. I've had them say the homeowner's already asked me that if anybody wants to do this, make sure you tell me, and so we can decide because we're open to it. Okay. So the realtor may be like that, or the realtor may just come right out with a flat no. No, they would not consider that. They need cash. That's it. Is there anything much you're going to do probably to convince her at that stage, or him? Probably not. No. Here's where I feel rubbed a little bit by it, though. If I can be just honest about it, it rubs me a little. And that's because isn't it a realtor's job to present all offers?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, you could push the tempo with the realtor a little bit and say, hey, listen, I'd like to go ahead and submit an offer. It's a lease with an option to purchase. And if you'll go ahead and pass this along to your client, I'd much appreciate it. I'll follow up with you tomorrow if I can. Mm-hmm. Or let me know. I'd like to hear back from you this evening if I could. Is that possible? Okay, so you can push the tempo because legally, I think they kind of have a what is it? What's it called?
Fiduciary responsibility.
Yeah, a fiduciary. and a lot of times they want to just act like it's a douchiary responsibility. Like, and so they'll either say yes, definitely, no, or they'll say, yeah, I think they might, let me ask them. And they'll offer to present your offer. So that's really what dealing with realtors and brokers is like. Occasionally you'll get a realtor that's kind of a jerk, and wants to tell you that what you're doing is illegal. Remember that a lot of these guys didn't really go to school and for more than like a couple weeks or a month or something. Okay. So they're also not lawyers. They're not judges. They're not law enforcement. So, it's like, take it with a grain of salt. When I was in the insurance business, it used to rub me that doctors would often make a lot of heavy recommendations to their client about insurance. And I kept thinking, well, hey, I don't make recommendations about prescription drugs. Why do you make recommendations about insurance? Okay, but that's neither here nor there. But realtors don't always operate with the full set of knowledge on what's legal or illegal. So occasionally you'll run into a bad one that's mean to you. But for the most part, they're just like you and me, professionals looking to make a paycheck to eat, want to support their families. Good folks, really. And so I think one mistake folks make, sorry to belabor this point, man.
No, it's okay.
But I think a mistake folks make when they get started is they neglect the realtor community. And what I mean is many deals in real estate, even as a wholesaler or an investor, you will not be able to complete without a realtor being involved somewhere. It will just happen. If you're a professional wholesaler, there will be realtors involved in some things because they're so heavily involved in real estate. And so if you neglect them completely, you don't have a strategy to talk with them, right? Or how to present your offer to them, or at least, or I think you should even take it further and build a network of realtors.
Well, that's the other thing. So you do a lease option deal with a realtor. How are they getting paid their commission? That's not us. That we have nothing to do with that.
Okay, that's a great question because the agreement that the homeowner has with the realtor is between the homeowner and the realtor. So technically, you're not involved.
What about sweetening the pot, saying, "Listen, with this option, I'm willing to split it 60-40 with you if, you know.
Okay, here's what I like to do, David. I like to tell the realtor, hey, listen, you've presented my offer. The homeowner is, liking it. He thinks he wants to go ahead and do this. Mr. Realtor, how were you planning on being paid? Mm-hmm. Because oftentimes, not every time, but often, they also recognize that it's been 5 months and they haven't been able to sell this property. The homeowner is now considering taking this offer, which in their minds is a secondary kind of offer because it's not cash today, it's cash in 24 months or 18 or whatever you set up. Mm-hmm. And so, but then again, they're doing it. And here they are now, used to being paid cash by cash buyer transactions or lender transactions where it's all done in one whack right here within 30 days, they get paid. So they kind of think in those ways, like I get paid when it closes. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes they'll come back to the table and they'll say, hey, I'll get paid when it sells in 24 months. Okay. If you volunteer 60-40 split, you may be giving away money you didn't have to.
Okay.
Because they may recommend, hey, I'll just get paid when it sells, when it closes in 24
when
months.
The tenant buyer moves in and exercises the option to buy.
When they exercise the option to buy, yeah. But if they don't feel like that, if they feel like, hey, I need to be paid right up front here, guy. Most of the time, a realtor is happy to collect 3% on a transaction. It's normally 6% total to the homeowner cost off the purchase or sale price, and that's 6%. But they have to share that usually with the buyer agent that brings the buyer. So the seller agent gets 3%, and then the buyer agent gets 3%, and then they typically share their 3% respectively with their respective brokers. Mm-hmm. So they walk away with like a half of a half, or sometimes a half of a half of a half or something, and so they're not used to making the full 6%. In a lot of cases, they're used to making 3% and sharing that with a broker. So if you offered 3%, if they're wanting to be paid today up front on when the keys exchange before closing 24 months, then all you have to do is say, well, Mr. Realtor, it'll be hard for us to pay you a full 3%, but here's what I could do. What if I gave you 1% when the keys are exchanged and 2% when it closes? Okay. So if it's $100,000 house, when we exchange keys with the tenant buyer, which means we've been paid, mm-hmm. the realtor gets $1,000. When the tenant buyer buys in 24 months, exercises their option, then they're going to get 2%. So another couple grand. Does that make sense?
But now you're putting that 2% that's in the contract that the realtor will be paid upon closing this transaction. 2%. You're putting that in your contract.
Yeah, and we may ask them how they prefer to have that written into the contract. They're not ignorant of how contracts work and stuff, so they may have an opinion on this, and they may be like, well, I would like to have it written on this form, or can we just have an addendum? My broker needs this. Okay, I'm cool with that. I'm not married to the paperwork, right? So I just want everybody to be happy and get what they're supposed to get, and often the realtors at this point feel the same way,
Hey, Justin, I want to ask you a question. This is Dion. Have you ever done a deal where the house was with an agent and the house was listed as a lease with option to buy?
I did a deal with a realtor where it was actually listed on the MLS as a rent with the option to buy.
Yeah.
Okay, that does exist. There are properties on the MLS. Here's a newsflash. Great question, Dion. And hey, by the way, welcome everybody. I know we were just right hot and heavy into this. I got some new brain powder mix, and you mix it with water. It's supposed to juice you. Dude, I feel it. I feel like I could climb mental Mount Everest right now. Just messing with you.
Hey, that's all right. I was about to say, send me the formula.
I forgot what it's called, man. It's called something. I don't know. I got it off Amazon, so it's not like anything, you know.
I got you.
Okay. Great question though, and welcome everybody watching and everybody that's in the Zoom room here. There's a bunch of folks, Dion, of course, and David, but also James and Larry, Rick, Rudolph, and several folks watching. Thank you. The question was about MLS properties being there as rent to own or lease with option, lease purchase, what have you. That does exist. And in reality, a lot of folks don't realize that the MLS is more than just houses that are for sale. Okay. Yes, guys, if you're out there and you're pretty new and you don't realize this yet, houses on the MLS are not always just for sale. There is a for rent section on the MLS. And occasionally you'll find a lease option property. Okay. Now, if it's a lease option property, then who's doing the lease option? Who's putting this together? Who's structuring this? You know, it's the realtor, right? Usually because they recognize that the seller has some kind of motivation and this fits. Smart guys, very smart. Wouldn't it be freaking cool if we all got our realtor's license and we could put our lease options on the MLS? I mean, isn't that a thought, right? That just, I don't know, it just hit me like it must be this brain powder. Wouldn't it be cool though if we could get our deals on the MLS like that? Just a thought. Maybe you pick up your license in your local market and that's where you put your deals. Also, here's a thought, and this is what I have done. Okay. I don't always utilize it, but I have done this. I've created a relationship with the realtor in my local market that is willing to work some of the disposition side for me in my local market, and MLS is part of that. And I deal share, I profit share. That's also a good idea. Why not? I mean, these realtors they've got buyers coming to them all the time that don't qualify. Okay, it's a wonderful scenario. Really, really cool. To answer your question, it works the same exact way as any other deal, except they're already open to it. But you need to be cautious because the realtor may have a program that he's trying to work, meaning he may not be looking for a large down payment, or he may be looking for a large down payment that he's putting into an escrow account and he's going to hold it for them. Or it may be some kind of home path program that he's really trying to do, or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess up his game because he's got a game and he's playing it and it's working for him, or it probably will at least. You can ask, and if it's not a good fit, you know, hey, it's not a good fit.
Gotcha. Okay. And real quick, while I got you, when you were talking maybe one or two videos ago about how much marketing you need to do to try to get deals, right? I think you had mentioned something along the order of maybe 500 texts a week or something like that to try to get a deal or two a month. Now, most folks in their own area can't get that much new activity because there just aren't that many listings. And how do you go about picking markets, or in the big picture, does it really matter? If it's just about the numbers, then you can just kind of figure out a way to get the numbers where you need them.
Yeah, correct. A couple things happen here. One is you have to move around a lot. In order to stay busy and have enough leads, you're exactly right. You cannot stay in one little local market, you know. it's just not going to work on the automatedrei.com alone.
Right.
You can do other marketing. You know, you can do prop stream stuff, ringless voicemail stuff. You can do direct mail. You can do bandit signs. You can do flyers. You can do ads and little newspapers, the classified sections. That still works, y'all. Okay. We take over payments. We take over house payments. Move now. Walk out today. Whatever. All that works. But automated REI alone now ain't gonna happen. Can't get enough. Can't get enough data to stay busy. So you will have to daydream out of that box and pull the trigger on a few extras. Now, if you're not stuck in one little local area, then you can move around as much as you need to. Move around as often as it takes. Now, what makes this even more necessary nowadays is because the pandemic and the lockdown and everything is becoming way more scrutinized by everything and everyone, ourselves included.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
this thing here is being scrutinized by the carriers. So if they see more than 50 or 100 messages go out on text that is the same exact message, oftentimes nowadays they'll spam it. Boom, spammed. So you need to be sending smaller amounts anyway. You need to be sending 50 to 100, no more than that. Okay. So at a time, the target number, if you want to do 1 to 2 deals a month, is 100 text messages a day. That's it. Just 100. So, you know, play around in your market and then pick a small city or small town and a market that's not in your market. I'll give you an example. In Missouri, I live in Kansas City, Missouri. Okay, that's the metropolitan urban area. It's competitive city-wise. I cannot, even in a 2.25 million population, I cannot sustain my business on Zillow scraping and text scrape and Craigslist scraping and text blasting. Not here in this market alone. Okay, so I am forced to either do other marketing in my local market or move outside my local market and do deals virtually, which is what I do. So how do I pick other cities? That's what you asked. Well, Kansas City, if you look at the map, and I literally pull up a map. I literally pull up a map on Google. If you go to Google right now and you pull up Missouri, you just type in Missouri, hit search, it'll offer you the option to select a map. So you pull up the map. Now you'll notice Kansas City is a big place. It's over here on the west side. Over here on the east side is St. Louis in Missouri. Another big old place. And you can tell looking at the map. But then because the circle is bigger, everybody
Right.
got him, right? I owe you one. No, I'm just kidding. You know, the kids do this. Kids do this shit, right? They're like, hey, you saw it. I don't know what the game's called, but y'all know what I'm saying. Like you photobomb people. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I literally will look and see, oh, that's a big circle. Okay, so that's a big metropolitan area. I'm going to avoid that. Plus, I'm already in Kansas City, so I'm not going to go to St. Louis. It's just like Kansas City, except bigger even. So here's what I'll do. I'll look around Missouri and I'll say, oh, here's a little circle. This is called Springfield. Okay. I'll do Springfield. Now, maybe in Springfield, I only get 40. That's okay. I'm almost half done for today. So I'll do 40. Okay. And then I'll see another little circle. And it says Joplin. And that's in Missouri too. So I'm like, I'll try Joplin. Yeah. I got another 21 from there. Now I'm up to 60, 64, something like that. I don't know. So I'm kind of keeping track of how many I'm doing here. And then I see another circle and it says Kirksville. So I do Kirksville and I get another 12 there. That sounds ridiculous, I know. But then I go to Columbia because it's another smaller circle, but kind of medium, not anywhere near as big as Kansas City circle or St. Louis. And so Columbia, but in Columbia, I pull out another 38. Okay. So now I'm over, right? I'm right at 100. I'm a little over 100. I'm good for today.
Mm-hmm.
So see, I did like 4 scrapes and 4 text blasts, but I hit my target number. And I'm going into markets that nobody else is really hitting. You follow me?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, because I was thinking to get the volume, just so, pick a few places. Like just to get the numbers, whether it's, I was thinking the major metropolitan area simply because, you're going to get the numbers. But, you mentioned the competition factor as well. So that's something to think about too. But you don't know how stiff the competition is until you get into it.
Well, it's like shopping. Yeah, it's like window shopping or internet shopping. Like I literally get on there and I'll shop around these smaller circles, towns and cities on the map until I find me 100 I can text blast. Tomorrow, do the same thing. Do this 5 days in a row and you've hit your target number for the week.
Yeah.
500 for the week.
There you go.
How many people did you talk to? Well, you probably talked to pushing 10, 12 people. You may have gotten a deal out of there, maybe not. Next week, you'll get another shot at it.
Right.
And in a month, you should have talked to about 60 people in a month, and you should have found a deal or 2.
All right. I'm gonna make it happen. I got to make it happen.
It's not a complicated process, but us making it work sometimes is complicated. And what I mean is it's a new thing, right? So getting in the flow, getting in the rhythm, building in a consistency of it, dealing with the emotional baggage that comes along with having a day where you did this, you blasted 100 out and you had poor results. Doesn't bother me, guys. It's all part of it. I don't care if I had poor results today. Guess what? Tomorrow I'm going to do another 100. And then the next day I'll do another 100, because I might have poor results 3 days in a row. And then the 4th day I have 2 people that want to do deals. I don't really know, but it is a numbers game, right? It's like going to the roulette wheel at the casino and you have it, you see it spin. You know that at least at some point it's going to land on black. At some point. You just don't know if it's this spin or if it's the next spin, or if you're like me. Last time I went to the casino and I played roulette wheel, I bet on red. Okay, I just felt it. I was like, oh, I watched it for a minute and I was like, ooh, it ain't been hitting red. I'm going to bet red. Let's go. 31 times in a row it landed on black.
Sorry about that.
Dude, it's a great story. I'm glad it happened. I mean, it's a numbers game. I don't know when that one's going to pop up, on what day, or what call, what lead, but it's in there and it will eventually show itself, right?
Yeah.
So don't get discouraged with the emotional baggage that comes along with having a poor results day. That's my only recommendation. When you're doing this, just do it for the doing of its sake. Do it well, do it with excellence, and do it consistently. When the discouragement comes because you've done this for a whole week and you talk to some people, but you didn't get the deal, hey, that's okay. It's in there somewhere. It'll pop up. Okay. It'll pop up red or it'll pop up black. One of the two.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
I love you guys. You guys are great. Dion, that was a super good question. David too. Anybody got any questions? We're just doing Q&A today here on the Shut Up Money Show podcast style. You guys have super good questions. I see good people here too. Lots of good people. Aisha, Rick, Errol. Yeah, thanks everybody. Lionel or Lionel, I'm not sure which it is, sir. Do you also pick according to if you know someone in that area as far as a JV? Well, that's a pretty good question, huh? As far as marketplace goes, are we picking areas where we know somebody? No, not at all. In fact, I'm JVing a deal right now with a guy that was a student of mine. He graduated, and he lives in California. He's doing a deal in Las Vegas, and guess who's working the dispo side? Yours truly. I don't live in Las Vegas, but I'm working the dispo side. So to answer your question, Mr. White Jr., yeah. Do you also pick according to if you know someone in the area? No, don't do it. And the reason why is because in the lease options, outsourced lease options 2.0 course, okay, what we have here, I'll show it to you real quick, is we have here's the course. This is what it looks like. When you get inside it, slide down. Here's the modules. There's a module right here. There's another module. Here's 4 or 5 more modules. Yeah, 4 more. You see it says here, how to pre-screen tenant buyers, appointment confirmation memo. All right. When I pull this appointment confirmation memo up, it's going to allow me, if I use this document, to do the deal virtually without knowing somebody in that market. What's the risk that you run when you do a virtual deal? Anybody? Shout it out if you know it. What's the risk? What's the biggest risk you run when you're doing a virtual deal?
They'll go around you.
Yep.
Yeah. That homeowner gets to thinking, man, I ain't never seen this guy. He lives over in Timbuktu. I don't even know what state he said. I can't remember. So, I mean, what's he going to do? That tenant buyer, I'm going to talk to them. Hey, how much money y'all putting down on this again? Okay. Well, I'll make you a deal. How about this? I own this house. I don't know who the hell you've been talking to. But here's what we need to do if you want to live here. And cut you right out of the deal. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to me more than once. Which is why we invented this form right here. Now, I'm not a lawyer, okay? I'm not an attorney. I'm not anything legal. I'm not even a paralegal, okay? In fact, I tried to be. And I was told by my teacher that I don't like to read enough to be an attorney and I need to choose a different career choice. Can you believe that? That's hilarious. Yeah. So I don't know if this is legal like the way it should be or whatever, but this form works for us. All right. Now, what is it? It just says this is the address. This is the seller's name, right? Puts everybody on blast here for being a part of the deal. Puts their name right there in the middle, front and center. Owner grants permission to view property at address at this time. Month, day, year, time of day. Name of prospective tenant buyer arriving at the time named above to view the property. Why is it important to write their names here? Because it is declaring to everyone that these tenant buyers are a part of this. These are the people you're talking about. Don't steal them from me. Because in the next paragraph, it says owner seller acknowledges their previous agreement with you The flex option agreement memo, you may have to edit this if you did something different. Owner seller also acknowledges that the above named tenant buyer prospect is property of you and agrees to not circumvent or do any real estate related transaction with above mentioned tenant buyer without you for 6 months from the date of this agreement. Isn't that cool?
Mm.
Now, if they won't sign it with you, they was planning on snaking you. Okay.
Now, as far as enforceability, I mean, what can you really do if they do it? I mean, it seems like this form is basically to, let them know that you don't want that to happen and kind of hold them to maybe an ethical standard, but not necessarily, enforceable. Like there's no real penalty for it, isn't it?
Well, to be clear, yes, you could sue them. It's not clear whether you would win, but you do have this document with their name on it, the tenant buyer's name on it, and their signature saying that they wouldn't do this to you, but they did. Now we're in court. What will the judge say? I couldn't tell you, but you could. However, let's just be honest and say it will never be worth your time. So it is really a scare tactic.
Okay.
It's not a scary tactic to the homeowner that's not trying to screw you. He sees the reasoning in it. He understands and he's got no problem with it because things are moving forward and he's ready to do this. He hopes that this tenant buyer's the one. But if he's looking to get you, this is scary, maybe. Most folks out there maybe tell a lie every now and again, but for the most part, they're not people who try to set up business strategies that screw other people out. And there's lots of people out there that would, yeah. But for the most part, if you've got a form like this, most people are like, well, it's risky at this point because I signed that form. So maybe we should, not. That's my experience. Have I still been screwed? Oh, yeah. I've been screwed like once. Okay. Whereas before this form was invented, it was happening every few deals, it seemed like. So I really recommend the form.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. So that's how I do deals virtually, guys. To answer the original question, do I pick a marketplace where I know somebody so that they can be boots on the ground? No, I'll let the homeowner be boots on the ground, and this form allows me to do that. So during the phone call with the homeowner, if I'm on the call with the homeowner and he wants to say, hey, let's do this deal. One question I have to ask him is, well, hey, Mr. Homeowner, real quick, what's your plan for letting people in and out of there? Oh, you mean like to look at the place? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there's a lockbox on it, or I live there. Oh, okay. So you'll be there. Okay, good. That makes sense. Or I moved and my brother, he still lives in town though, and he's going to show the place. If you let me know in advance, I could set it up with him. Okay. They usually have a plan. Not always. There's a few cases I've seen where they didn't have the ability to even get pictures. And I even ran across a case once a year or two ago with Alefa in the VIP. She found a deal, and the guy that owned it didn't even have a key. And no pictures, no keys, no nothing. And it was like, okay, well, how does this work? You will occasionally find a deal like that. That's going to be hard to virtually do. Okay. It's going to be hard to do virtually or virtually do virtually. You can't do it because you can't sell a property like that. And you can't get the people inside. I mean, how are they going to move in? You're going to have the SWAT team come break in. so they can, move their mattress and box springs inside. So, most of the time they've got a plan. Most of the time they have a plan. So it's not a big deal. But you just simply ask, hey, Mr. Homeowner, what was your plan for allowing people in and out of there to do what we need to do? Oh, and then let them tell you how it works. Most of the time, it's perfectly fine. Okay, great, Mr. Homeowner. That sounds good. What we'll do is when we have somebody lined up ready to go and we know the day and time, I'll send you a form. It's called the appointment confirmation memo. And I'll just need your signature on it. That just gives us permission to go in and take a look. Sound good? Okay, great. See, I set him up for it now. So, it goes off without a hitch 9 times out of 10. I hope that was helpful for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I'm just up here bloviating my ass off. Like I'm pontificating on things and what the hell am I talking about? No. It's 10:47, guys. We got a good handful of people here actually more than a handful, a couple of handfuls here in the Zoom room, and another couple of handfuls of people on YouTube, and then another group of people on Facebook. Thank you so much. God bless you for watching us today. If you have a question, put it in the chat, please. Or if you're in the Zoom room, you can go ahead and shout it out at me right now. If you want to be in the Zoom room, just visit www.zoomjustin.com. Okay. Let me put a plug in here real quick too for the VIP Club. VIP Club meets 6 times a week for live Q&A and role playing and help. Okay, support. It's not very expensive to get into, guys. You spend more money on your cable bill, by far more money. Okay. Check it out, realestatewholesalersclub.com. Any other questions out there, guys? Who's got a question in the Zoom room? Anything. I may or may not know the answer, but I'll let you know if I don't. Unless I can think up a really, really good non-answer answer.
Okay, I'll throw in a question.
Come on, James. It's good to see you. I knew you was in there. I was like, I can't believe James Everett doesn't have a question.
I know.
Hey,
I'm
man, did you? I'm sorry. Hey, you're full of great stuff. That expanding foam in a can? No, that's not what I mean. You and Greg Lohr, are you guys still partnered up?
Yeah.
Y'all got some money here recently. I don't think I made you. Did I make y'all tell the story?
Well, it was actually it's kind of a good story. We met a guy here locally who was a realtor for Conrex. I mean, he did other things besides Conrex, but he was the local agent for Conrex. So we had another guy, Carlos, who introduced us to this guy, and we had 2 houses to look at that we had under contract. So we showed both of the houses to our contact and the realtor that was working for Conrex. The house that we thought that they were going to buy, they said no way, because it backed up to a main road and had a fence, and the fence wasn't in good shape, and they don't like it when there's washers and dryers in the kitchen area. So they passed on that house, and that's unfortunately the house that the woman was supposed to sell to me. She decided to back out at the last minute because we didn't have title search by the expiration date. Anyway, so the other house was really kind of a crappy house, but Conrex decided that they were going to buy that house. So I would have only offered maybe 55, 60 at the most on that house. Conrex came back at 84,000.
Wow.
So a good $30,000, pretty much more than what I would have offered. So we didn't make a lot of money. The woman had 4 pets, 2 dogs, one that just was not in good shape at all. But great animal. So we just decided that we would help her out, and I think we split $4,000 between 3 people. So I think it's one of the smallest commissions I've ever gotten, but it was good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool though. You know, every little bit helps, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Did you guys are still partnered together, still hitting it though, huh?
Yeah, we have found definitely a decline in the response to the ads that we've been putting out. I mean, we were really starting to build our pipeline up until the pandemic hit, and but then as of March 15th, everything went pretty haywire after
Yeah.
that. We haven't found a whole lot of leads, and it's still a seller's market around here. So
Right.
the properties haven't gone down. I think days on market have gone up, but property prices haven't gone down, and they're still asking top dollar for their houses, even though I think the market's going to crash here at some point soon. So
Yeah. It's the funny world we live in right now. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. I mean, for sure, none of us have crystal balls. None of us have crystal balls. No. So it's hard to know what's going to happen with the real estate market. But like you said, man, here in my market, it's pretty much a seller's market too.
Yeah.
And it's partly, I think, because the interest rates are just so doggone low.
Yeah, interest rates are low, and if you look at the last recession that we had back in 2008, we had kind of a long time to anticipate that something was, that things were going bad and going from bad to worse back in those days. But this, the pandemic hit like overnight almost, and we were in a seller's market.
Yeah.
There was no ramping up or ramping down or whatever. I mean, basically it turned from it's still a seller's market. I think people are still in that mode. I mean, yes, it's going to take them longer to sell their properties than it did before, but people are still paying their prices for it. So
Yeah.
Crazy.
There's some good deals out there though too, and some motivated sellers. We're finding them. We're finding the motivated sellers. Finding them more now, a little bit, slightly more than I was, and I'll keep you guys updated if I feel something break here. But what was your question, James? I'm sorry. Did I miss
I
it?
hadn't asked it yet. What I wanted to ask you was, in regards to automated REI, if you were to put together a list like for your market right now, would you be doing like failed MLS listings, length of ownership? I'm just trying to stack some filters, because I did have some fairly decent success when I did that.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, failed listings, expired listings. I also really like the absentee owner or the non-resident owner. Okay, 10 years of ownership or more. A lot of these landlords are getting tired and they're scared too, right? So they'll consider, especially if they're in areas where they've allowed the house to deteriorate for some reason. And that happens, believe me. Or maybe the tenant destroyed it again for the 17th time. They're ready to get out. Yeah, those are a couple good lists you should target. Sure.
Okay.
Yep. But that's more prop stream. More prop stream is where I target those mostly personally. It kind of goes hand in hand with a guy that was asking a question here in the chat. He was saying, why only do 100 texts a day? Why not upload your list to a company that does only text blasts? Well, the automatedrei.com does that in text blasts. But the reason why, he says you could do thousands at a time. Well, yeah, you could with the automated REI, but the problem is they would catch you. The carriers would as spam, and they'd block your messages, and you'd just be wasting time and money.
Yeah.
That's why you don't do thousands at a time. Now, roll the clock back 10 years. Okay. Put me back into 2008 and I could text blast the shit out of thousands of people and nobody would say anything. Right. Not like that now. Okay. So, you got to be more slow, more methodical, more consistent. Okay. Also, maybe make this a gig for a virtual assistant to do for you. If you don't like doing the lead gen, because you're like, man, every day I got to sit down and I got to go shopping for 100 places to text blast. Yeah.
Right. Hey, let me ask you something, Justin. I am hiring a VA who's going to be starting for me on Monday.
Yeah.
She comes highly recommended. She's had a good history with Time Warner Cable and Comcast. She's got sales experience. She understands short sales and other aspects of real estate. I'm just trying to. Did I forget what my question was? Sorry.
It's
Well,
okay.
I'm
It's
sure.
okay.
Any suggestions though for beautiful? Any suggestions on working with a VA?
Just picking on you, man.
No, I love it.
Yeah, it's yeah. The virtual assistant is you need to find one on Upwork. Okay. Probably upwork.com.
Yeah.
I like Filipino or Filipina. Okay.
Yeah.
I only will. I'll put a job posting up there. There's a job posting too in the Outsource Lease Options 2.0, so you can just use that one. Just to pull it right out of the course, put it up on Upwork on your thing, and boom. Okay. When they respond, there's an initial text message response in the Outsource Lease Options 2.0. Okay. Once you send them that response, okay, now you're in a conversation. If it takes them more than 20 minutes to respond back to me, I cut them.
They're translating.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm done. If it takes more than 20 minutes, I'm out. And I mean it. Okay. So don't make exceptions because this person seems like a nice person.
Right.
Okay. If they're a nice person, great. Let them go home and play with their kids. Right.
Yeah.
Right. This is my business. I need you to be punctual, professional. So if they're slow getting back to me, nah. Okay. The second thing is then I'll ask them for a phone interview or a Skype interview. Okay. Usually it's Skype. So we'll Skype, and I like to see them. Okay. Because I want to see what kind of environment they live in and work in.
Okay.
If they're working out of a barn, I've seen it. Okay. I'm serious, with a fire pit back there and there's like villagers walking around.
Yeah.
This is not what I need. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking them. That's life where they live. And hey, it looked like a hell of a bunch of fun to me. Like I want to run around the fire pit too,
Yeah.
But this, what's that got to do with what I'm doing? So I'll cut them, but be pretty picky. But they need to speak good English. They need to be prompt and on time and punctual at getting back to you. And then on the call, okay, I will demonstrate with them what I need done. Okay, I'll make it a training kind of. It'll usually take me 5-10 minutes though to do this, because I'm not asking them to do like a whole bunch of shit, right? Just one task. And then I'll usually give them a week to prove it to me that they can do this task. I give them access to me. Any questions, any problems, any issues, you get in touch with me. Here's how you do it anytime, night or day. Okay. For the first week. And then when you start during the morning, or when are you starting every day? I need this done at this time. Okay, you can't do it at that time. You can do it at this time. Okay, that works too. Every day at this time, I need you to contact me and tell me you're beginning your task. When you're finished, I need you to send me screenshots. I need you to send me pictures, video, recordings, whatever it is at the end of the day. You have 1 week to show me you can do these things. And at the end of 1 week, if you are successful, I'll give you a $1 or $2 raise. And we will begin officially. If you are not able to please me in the first week, you are fired. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Mr. Trump.
Okay, that's basically what you have to do.
All right.
And you have to talk to them like that. See, that's what most people are like, oh, he's being funny. No, I'm not being funny. That's real shit right there. That's how you have to talk to them, because that's the language they understand. And honestly, that's the language they expect you to know. They expect you to be like that. They want a boss. They think you are a rich white American, right? And then you're going to talk like you're some kind of a beach guy or like a friend or like it don't play.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to be the American business owner. And in their mind, you're somewhere up here. I don't get it, but yeah, you're somewhere up here. The Philippines are American type colonies, like I know they're not American colonies, but they're Americanized. They love Americans for the most part. And they think, oh man, Americans, they got a lot of money. They're rich. Their lifestyle is so much better than here. Whether that's true or not, in some ways it is, maybe others not. They put you up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Use that to your advantage to make them be the best they can be. They're proud. They're proud of this shit, right? They go tell their friends, I work for a rich American man. Yeah. He sends me this much money. And they're like, what? How you get job for a rich American man? And when I said that about white rich man in America, businessman, yeah, well, that's true for you, but you could easily be any other color, really. But it's the idea of the American. The American, no matter who you are, you must be rich. In your case, they probably do think, oh, that's a rich white American. Okay.
Yeah.
Which may be even kind of exacerbate, or not exacerbates, but maybe that even exposes there is some weird ideologies in America about race and around the world about how we look at race.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. So, but they do have an opinion of us, and we should recognize that. If you fail to, I know I belabored this too much, guys. Sorry, but if you fail to operate that way with your virtual assistant, they will walk all over you, and you will not get your tasks done. Okay, they'll be working for you and 10 other people all at the same time.
Right.
And next thing you know, you went from being the rich American guy to a chump. So I've been the chump.
Yeah. Thank you.
Put them on a week, man. Biggest mistake I see people make is hiring virtual assistant for like a whole month. Don't do it.
Okay.
That's like going out on a date with somebody you never been out on a date with, and you're like, hey, let's make this like a 30-day date, baby. Turns out they're psycho. You're like, oh no. What do I do now? Yeah. So anyway. Well, any other questions, guys, or we should wrap it up maybe? I love you guys. Hey, Lionel. I said Lionel once or twice, but thanks for clearing that up for me, man. I appreciate you guys watching. Voice blast. Yeah, you can do a lot of voice blasts. Ringless voicemail. Sure. The texting, though, that's a little bit, you need to be a little bit more small chunks with it. Lionel wants to know what's the process of a sub 2 deal. Lionel, that's like a whole other thing, man. Lionel, get in touch with me, dude, because I got a course on it and I got a full complete agreements package. And it's got everything that you asking about right now. And you can spend your time, or spend time just kind of soaking it in, like how, because it's got instructions too on how it works in the flow of the deal. Get in touch with me. I'll just give that to you. How's that? That'd be my gift to you today, Lionel. Thank you, sir, for watching. Anybody else got anything? Any questions?
Hey, Justin, I just remember what the question was that I wanted to ask you. It was in regards to using the do not call list. The VA that I hired, or actually I have two VAs, are going to be calling pretty much 8 hours a day. And I know that the dialer will scrape against the do not call list. But since we're not selling anything, we're trying to help people with their real estate problems. Do you think it needs, I mean, once you scrape things with the do not call list, basically you're going to be eliminating at least 50% of the phone numbers. And so I'm wondering if you have any advice on that, since we're not selling anything, do you think you could get away with not scraping it against the do not call list?
Well, that's like asking me if to guard the cookie jar. Like it's going to be hard for me to stay honest here, but in reality, the law is what the law is. I didn't make it. It's just what it is, and you really shouldn't be doing a lot of what we do, probably. To say that you just had a list of people, you weren't really trying to sell them anything, you were just trying to offer a help or a service, or maybe even buy their house from them, if it ever got raised up in a court or a question was brought up about it, I think, I think it's really iffy. I mean, and it sounds like I'm justifying breaking the law, So how do you get around this? Well, if you're texting, you can use the TCPA compliant thing over on automatedrei.com and single blast these out.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't take long at all. Ringless voicemails, I feel a little better about sending out a lot of ringless voicemails. Okay. If I'm sending out 50 or 100 texts on a text blast, I'm cool with that. I don't feel like I'll take that risk. Personally, I'll take the risk. I'm not sending out 1,000. I'm not sending out 10,000. I sent out 16, then I sent out 27, then I sent out 31. I ended up, so I don't feel like I'm violating much law here. And if I am, it's such a small scale. Are they really going to spank me? I don't know. Maybe they could. I'll take that risk.
Uh-huh.
On ringless voicemail, I'll push the tempo even a little further than that if I do one of those. So, and I do ringless voicemail, but typically it's with a cash buyers list I've pulled in my area. Like I'm looking to create new relationships with recent cash buyers. Ringless voicemail is cool for that.
Okay.
Yeah, here's a great question. I hope that answered your question, or did I just get like way off?
I think I can infer your opinion on that.
Okay, cool. How many leads does it take to get a deal? Typically 30. Typically 30, Rich. Okay. Rich also wants to know, did I ever get sued and when I was doing a deal virtually? And did I have to go to court out of state? No. The answer is no. Never been sued because of a virtual deal. Oh, I've been sued before. Yes. I've been sued many times for many different reasons. It's a part of life. If you're a business person, getting sued. Yes, it will happen to you if you ever have anything worth getting. Okay. Someone will sue your ass. Okay. For every dollar you have in your pocket, there's 3 people trying to figure out how to get that shit out of your pocket. Okay. Welcome to the world of business in America, the land of go to court and try to save your shit. Okay. That's the land we live in. That's the way it works. You will get sued. I've been sued many times. Do not be afraid when someone sues you. Okay. It's not the end of the world. It's not like you're going to prison. Okay. Sometimes you step on people, they sue you. Sometimes people step on you and sue you. It happens. Crazy things happen. One time I was at a school picking up my kid from school, and a lady in the crosswalk, I'd never even touched her, but she called the police and said that I did a hit and run. I hit her and drove off. There were no eyewitnesses. There were no bruises on her body. There was nothing. The cameras in the parking lot never picked up any of that. But the police sure did come out, and the police sure did write me a summons to court, citation. I had to appear in municipal court because somebody said something. Now, ultimately, that went nowhere because it wasn't true. But that didn't mean I didn't get, and like I had to go to court and shit, right? Okay, so it happens. But I've never been sued because of a virtual deal. And the fact is, if I were sued because of a virtual deal, it would be very, very hard for them to sue me in a different state. Yeah. It would be very hard for them to sue me in a different state. So, hard to do. Very hard to do. Doubtful they ever would, because it's just not worth the time and effort and expense. Same way here, if they end up circumventing you, is it going to be worth your time to go chase them in court? Nah. Let it go. Let it go. Who wins when you take people to court over little bitty shit? The lawyers and the judges. That's who wins. Okay. Now, if somebody took you for $250,000, you better go get it. But somebody took you for 2,500 or whatever, go make more money. You ain't rich enough to worry about somebody snaking you for $2,500. Go get more money. Okay. Yeah. That's not worth suing somebody for. You'll spend more than that trying to get it back. It's like having an old shitty car. You keep putting parts on it. Just go fucking get some money and buy a new one, right? You're paying on all these parts. Just pay for a new one. Any last questions, guys, before I sign off? I love y'all. Thanks for putting up with me today. Man, it's brain stuff. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for participating. Okay. I'll see you guys again on our live Q&As, VIP sessions during the week. They're Tuesdays, Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, and then we're back here again Saturday. Not having guests anytime soon, far as I know. On Saturdays, just us, because I like this. You guys seem to like it. I like that you like it. I like that we like it. Let's just keep doing it. All right. Love you guys. Have a good week. RealEstateWholesalersClub.com. Hey, thanks, David, man. You added a bunch today, man. I appreciate it.
Hey.
And James, too. And Dion. And everybody. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Justin.